Now on to our final team of the day, the Omaha Mavericks. Coach Carrie Banks joining us now. Coach, how are we doing?
Good. How are you guys?
We are great. We're rolling through the day. Awesome. Our last team, 9 of 9.
Perfect.
I love it. So this is the second annual media day here up in Sioux Falls. How awesome is it just to see all the student athletes and coaches come together on this day?
It's great. I mean, first and foremost, our student athletes are having a blast. I think it's kind of cool seeing them interact with each other outside of a competitive setting. I feel like the meetings they've had for them, just getting their insight about the student athlete experience, great idea. So it's really fun to see them in this space, and I'm having a great time as well, too.
You also bring 2 of your leaders with you, Grace and Katie, and, one's senior, one's grad. They have a lot of experience for you. How have their roles changed even now in this last year as they bring in, a pretty decent sized freshman class, and then also just knowing that they're on the back end of their career and they want to achieve some stuff now and they're at the back end?
Yeah. I think the big thing for them is, they've been with me every single year, and in the landscape of college sports, that does not happen. So I'm so thankful that they've been Mavericks for their entire career. They know what I want, though. And so when you have 10 new players on a team, on a roster of 15, having those kids, we have 3 that have been with me the entire time, who know what you want, who know what the league looks like, and night in and night out, what it's going to take to compete at this level. It's great because they can share those things with the newcomers.
Yeah.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about Grace and she's going to join us up here in just a little bit, but she was an honorable mention all-league selection a year ago, your top scorer, has the ability to score at different levels. And I know the 3-point shot has been a point of emphasis to be able to get those looks for your team. But as she's gone into the gym this year in the off season, where has been her focus? And what did you guys talk about to say, Grace, this is where you can be better and I need you to be better?
Her decision making. So I think, like you said, she can score at all 3 levels. She has a great feel for the game. I think she's a great passer. I just need her to be consistent in her decision making and, continue to help those around her be better. Obviously, we're going to rely on her to, use her scoring abilities a lot this season. So I'm excited for that for her. And I'm hoping that that will free her mind a little bit too, to just go get a basket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I'm excited about it. And, she had a great summer. She's been great in preseason, all that stuff. So I'm looking forward to see how it translates.
There were struggles probably to rebound the basketball at both ends of the floor last year, where statistically the numbers weren't great, but yet you've added a little bit more size. You've got a 6'3" center that comes from Australia, Harriet Ford, just a little bit different looks and that depth. How has that played in to where your areas of emphasis have been, and what have you guys really focused in on practice?
Yeah, you can say it. I think we were second to last in the country in rebounding. That has not been lost on me, but that's, something I took very personally over this summer as we were looking at kids we were bringing in and just steps we needed to take to move forward and not be in that space next year. I think Harriet is she loves to rebound. So I think sometimes you have to get kids that this is what they love to do. And it's not necessarily teaching them, but they own that. Aaliyah Moore, another kid, she's a grad transfer. She loves to rebound. So I think that has actually inspired some kids okay, this is meaningful. Grace was our second leading rebounder at 5'8" last year. So, having her back as well, rebounding from a perimeter spot, I think is really, really good. But we have spent a lot of time on defense and on rebounding, and that just has to be the core of who we are, especially early. So,
and we talk about early, that's where some of those challenges come in, where you open at Drake, you're going to play at Nebraska, you're going to be at Kansas and at Wisconsin, all in the month of November. So that's early.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, I know. But with that, and in talking to all the coaches today, I think one of the themes has been that we've got to challenge ourselves. We got to see different systems because of what we see when we hit conference play. Did you schedule in that same vein headed into this year, knowing you've got to be able to challenge these young ladies to see what they're made of?
Absolutely. I think the Summit League, great league, very competitive league. And so getting prepared for that and going into those games with a mindset of we have to win, and I know maybe that sounds crazy, but we are going to go into this game winning and trying to win and do everything we can to prepare to win this game. And so, I think last year we had some issues finishing. We also had some issues on just starting the game, not at the tip. And so just looking forward to in those games, coming out right away. I mean, because you have to,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because they're bigger and more athletic and all that stuff. So I think it'll be a great test. I think it's going to get ready. I think we also have some good mid-majors on our schedule as well, too. So I'm just looking forward to, again, how that all comes together for us.
And playing 40 minutes. I mean, that goes a long way, right? 38 is awesome, but the other two might be the downfall.
Exactly.
So you need 40 minutes.
Exactly.
We've touched on your leaders, but I want to, you look at your sophomore class, you've got some girls that have come back that played some minutes last year. You know, you have the 5 freshmen and a lot of additions. So have you seen them grow? Maybe those girls that got minutes last year, and then also the freshmen joining this group and how they've built so far, and maybe just the cohesion in the gym so far.
Yeah. Well, I think the great thing about everything is that they get along really, really well in the gym, out of the gym, like they get along, and it's genuine. You know what I mean? So I think that when you have 10 new kids and you're trying to get them all to play together and see, you know, where people want the ball and all that stuff, the fact that they like each other is a great start. Obviously, Cora's coming off of a great freshman year for us. So I'm looking forward to her continuing to grow and, you know, be herself and add a little bit more outside shooting to her game. You know, we have a sophomore, Alana Powell, who's come in and will run the point guard spot for us. And then, you know, our 5 freshmen are just fearless. They love to be in the gym. They are so excited about this opportunity. I think our 2 Aussies, I mean, they're coming from playing in a semi-pro league in Australia where they've played against grown women. So I always tell them, do not think you're freshmen. You're not. You have played against American players who have already graduated college. So you are, you know, I think that experience, you're going to look at them and be like, wow, they're just a freshman, because that's what I've thought so far.
Yeah. Yeah, like play to that experience. Like you have it. Do you feel like the experience they've had has rubbed off on the girls in the gym as well?
I think so. And I think with them, I think when you play with older players, you just get to the point. You know what I mean? Hey, this is where I need the ball. They're very direct in what they want. And I think that's been a little like alarming to our older kids. Like, oh, these freshmen just, and I'm like, yeah, we all should do that. You know what I mean? So they've brought some good experience to us. Obviously, the cultural experience is a whole nother thing. They'll try to convince everybody to try Vegemite. Don't do it by itself. They keep saying, you got to try it on toast with butter. And I'm like, well, why didn't you introduce it to me that way? You know what I mean? So it is a very unique tasting thing, but they love it in Australia. So that's been interesting.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Well, we all have our differences, I guess, with food and taste and whatnot, but we talked about it a little bit with some other teams. I'm going to go off topic here. So they got chicken salad chick in Tulsa. What is that for Omaha? Like, what is our
thing?
Yeah, what's our thing, would you say?
Oh, now my thing as a non-Nebraskan may be different. I mean, everybody talks about runza in Nebraska.
I was going to say, yes, that's the traditional.
I feel like there's one other thing that I'm missing that's a Nebraska food that I'm going to get in trouble for.
Corn.
Corn, yes, that I could see that. Maybe was it a hot dog of some sort? I'm not sure.
Hot dogs?
Maybe.
The red hot dogs look like they're dyed, which I think they are.
I would.
The whole Kool-Aid thing being started in Nebraska. I learned that very quickly. So, yeah.
Traditions. You got to have them, right?
Yes.
You set them all across the board.
I love it. Hey, I want to bring up one other really cool story that I got to learn about you last year. So we both met Dawn Staley and got to hear her speak, which was just amazing. So she gave you part of her national championship net. I believe it was, 2019? Was that the first year?
I think it was.
Your first year at Omaha, I think?
Well, it might have been 2020.
Might have been 2020?
Yeah, or 21, yeah.
So she gave a piece of the net from that championship year to every Black female head coach across the country. And then you got to meet her. Yeah. What did you get to maybe say to her, or what did you take away from what she spoke about?
Well, I think one of the biggest things she said that kind of resonated with me, and this is crazy because it was just a random nugget, right? She was just saying how she's an introvert and how she still has to find ways to connect and, you know what I mean, be able to coach at that level, and how people assume that she wouldn't be that because of all the things she's accomplished, the position she's in. And I'm like, that's kind of who I am as well too. So it was great to see that somebody can be in that space and be successful, you know what I mean, coaching college athletes. But I think the other thing that really, really was impressive, wasn't surprised, but impressive, is just her knowledge of so many things that are like even non-basketball related, and how she analyzes the game and what's happening around the game, and how in touch she is with all those things and moving the game of women's basketball forward. So it was great to see.
I love it. Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll bring up Grace Cave and Katie Keitges next.
Oh, you guys will be entertained. Thank you so much.
We will.
Thank you.
I think we will.